Is Arcane Odyssey a good game? The short answer to that question is yes. But recently I've seen a lot of 50-50 reviews on Arcane Odyssey. I've seen a lot of people saying the game is really good, they like it, and they like what's gonna come to the game in the near future. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying they don't like it. And when you ask them why, the usual typical answer is the game is a bandit beater? Now even I'm confused, because there are plenty of bandit beaters on Roblox, and I wouldn't really classify Arcane Odyssey as that. But we're not going to get into that right now. In this video, I'm going to be letting you guys know why Arcane Odyssey is actually a good game. So let's get straight into that. First, I do want to speak about progression. Now, this game has various ways to progress through the game in order to get your character to max level, the strongest it can be, etc. Now, there's the typical way of progression. When you load in, you complete the story. As you progress through the story, you'll eventually level up to the current max level, and you'll be able to do various other things after that in order to make your character stronger. However, apart from the 2 or 3 story quests that you need to do at the start of the game, you don't have to do the story in order to progress through the game. Like, actually. A lot of the old progression systems outside of the story were nerfed just a little bit. One of them being cargo, the cargo quest. Now, if you earn enough money and you buy a decent boat, you can actually put cargo on your boat, sail to the island furthest away from where you are, which would usually just be Ravana. Once you get to Ravana, you sell your cargo and you'll get a lot of galleons and EXP. Now, the galleons and the EXP you gain from this scales with your level, but you still get a good amount of them to level up. Before the 33% nerf, you could actually boost yourself to max level just doing the cargo quest if you wanted to. Not only that, you can also fish your way to max level. Now you may think, Ags, what are you talking about? There are multiple fishing quests on multiple different islands, and they give good EXP. On top of that, you gain EXP for catching different varieties of fish the first time you catch them. And a lot of it's a lot of EXP, even when you're high level. So fishing is another great way, and fishing is actually quite entertaining. It's not even like fishing is boring. Fishing is another great way to gain EXP in this game. Even if you don't want to do that, once you're high enough level, go to Palo Town, and there's multiple quests there that gain you a lot of EXP. On top of that, there are a bunch, and I mean a bunch of different ways to gain EXP in this game. I've never struggled to get to max level. I've never been stuck stagnant trying to gain levels. A lot of people ask where to go. I can't level up from level 65 to 73 or whatever. It's because they don't explore the game. If you actually explore, play the game, you get EXP from going to new islands, for crying out loud. If you explore and play the game properly, you'll find out that there's multiple ways to level up in this game. There's literally quests that give you 14,000 EXP from cooking, completing the cargo quest from Reverine to Frostmill. Those 2 quests that do that give you a bunch of EXP. You gain like 8,000 EXP just from completing the fighting style quest, and that quest gives you like 10k EXP just to defeat some trees. There's so many ways to level up. You don't break some trees. You don't even need to go around quote unquote bandit beating. There's so many ways to level up in this game, and a lot of games don't have that. A lot of games have that, hey, you answer this quest, it tells you to defeat 10 bandits, and you repeat that quest for 20 levels, if not more. Literally, GPO and blocks fruits. And this leads to my second point, bandit beating. Is Arcane Odyssey a bandit beater? Arcane Odyssey, in my opinion, is the furthest thing from a bandit beater. Yes, this game still has bandit beating elements. There are going to be quests that ask you to defeat mobs, bosses, etc. However, to classify a game as a bandit beater, the game's main form of progression needs to be bandit beating. Getting a quest and killing 5 bandits over and over and over. Blocks fruits, bandit beater. Grand Peace Online, bandit beater. Axios game, bandit beater. If your argument, and a lot of people are gonna be mad that I said blocks fruits, from level 1 all the way to level 1,500, or is it 2,500? I don't remember. You literally accept quest, defeat those bandits, get EXP from the quest, level up, and do that about 10 or 20 times in order for you to move on to the next island. And that summarizes literally every single Roblox anime One Piece game. Arcane Odyssey does not have that. literally the definition of a pirate game. You can gain EXP from battling other ships. There are quests that tell you to battle other ships. ETC. Arcane Odyssey is not a bandit beer. Now, most of you guys are calling Arcane Odyssey a bandit beer because Red Weeb called it a bandit beer. From my knowledge, Red Weeb only spent 30 minutes playing the game. He hasn't even played the game and called it a bandit beer. He did acknowledge that later on into the game there's more things to do, etc. But he wouldn't know that if he hasn't actually played the game. So, is Arcane Odyssey a bandit beater? No, it's not. But it does have small bandit beating element. But this game's the furthest thing on Roblox that we have from a bandit beater. Combat. Now, a lot of people's argument with Arcane Odyssey is that the combat is terrible, mid. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and say it has the best combat system in the world, but the combat system 100% grows on you. From the outside looking in, even if you look at my old videos reacting to when Arcane Odyssey wasn't out, I have openly stated I am not the biggest fan of the combat system. In fact, at one point I called it mid. Now, actually having playing the game, getting used to the game's combat mechanics, and still learning the game's combat mechanics, it's actually kind of entertaining. It's unique to itself, and it does take some getting used to, but there's some fun involved in it, especially within the PvE. PvE, this game is actually quite fun. There are annoying points of the game where bosses do jump around the map unnecessarily, in my opinion, literally flying across the map. That is so irritating, by the way. They teleport every 2 seconds across the map and you have to chase them down. Very annoying. Minus points for that. However, the game does have some really interactive boss fights that I do like. Even fighting other ships out on sea, you destroy a ship and then you get to plunder that ship. I love that. And then you get to fight all the people on board the enemy ship. I love that. Genuinely kind of fun. And then onto the PvP aspect of the game. PvP is actually quite entertaining if you learn the combat mechanics, especially if your build is good. There are some really tight fights where I've actually been sweating. Like, the game actually is fun. And even if you don't enjoy like the core mechanics of the PvP, fighting other people's ships out on sea, super fun. And another thing I like about the game is that this game doesn't force you to have to play with friends. Bosses are actually doable solo. The last boss is really hard, like really hard. But if you're good enough, you can take him out solo. Whereas in other games, and I'm not going to say any names, the boss will have 1,000,000 EXP and you genuinely cannot do that boss unless you have a group of other people, because the boss deals stupid amounts of damage with no chance of actually dodging, parrying, or avoiding the abilities. So you just have to tank the damage coming onto you. I don't want to say any names, but grab peace online. You have no way of actually blocking, parrying, dodging, or avoiding most abilities. And you just have to tank the hits until you die, which is why you need a large group of people in order to take on most bosses. Overall, Arcane Odyssey is actually a good game. Now, everyone's been complaining about, oh, the game has a lack of content, and the game does have a lack of content. But what did Vetex say at the start? What does everybody has clearly specified this, and it's the problem with the Roblox community because you guys don't listen. Arcane Odyssey released for early access. This means the game isn't done. You can literally click on the game and it shows you the Trello. It sends you to the Trello and shows what there is to do with the game. There is a long list of future updates. You can literally see most, not everything, most of the things coming to the game in the future. I'm not too sure why everyone keeps bringing up this, the game has lack of content. Yes, it does, because the game's in early access. The game is not finished. The future updates for this game, just think about it like this. By the time this game is actually out of early access and in full release, there's gonna be a lot of content. It's as simple as that. I'm not too sure how that's going in over people's heads, but it is what it is. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Arcane Odyssey, I love it.